Hey everyone, I'm Will from Will Tone Productions, and this is Music Row Piano. It's a Nashville studio grand sampled exactly the way we record real pianos every day on Music Row. Every note, every noise, every sonic layer was captured with the goal of giving you the sound of a real session straight out of Nashville. Before I recorded the first note of this library, I spent an entire week dialing in microphone selections, mic positions, preamps, EQ curves, treating this sampling session exactly like a real record, and maybe even more in detail. And I didn't do this alone. Thankfully, my career as a session keyboardist has led me to be close friends and colleagues with many of the industry's legendary engineers. And these are the guys who help define the sounds of artists like Luke Combs, Josh Turner, Brett Paisley, Darius Rucker, Waylon Haggard, Eric Clapton, so many others. With their help, every mic choice, placement, every preamp choice, every EQ point was refined until it matched the way a grand piano is captured on a major label session. And that's why Music Row Piano doesn't just sound like a sample library. It sounds recorded because it's done the same way we do it on the records you hear every day. So let's dive in and take a look around. This is the default sound. It's clean, it's balanced, and it's mix ready. It's the kind of piano tone you hear on hundreds of modern country and CCM records. Let's take a look at the UI. This is the screen that you're going to get when you initially open Music Row Piano. In the bottom right-hand corner, you'll notice a settings cog wheel. Click that. This is going to give us a look at the engineering or the console view, as I call it. This is where you'll have access to the microphones, the amount of air, the amount of noise, the reverb selections. It's all the tools that we actually use on real records. Now, when I captured the piano, I captured the three mic perspectives that I see most commonly used in Nashville. A stereo pair of 414s, a stereo pair of 47s, and a mono MD 421. Now, the 414s are a bright, modern, clear approach to recording. The 47s, a little more old school. They're wider, warmer, and have more detailed, intimate sounds to them. And the 421 is just a mid-range, punchy weight that helps give a three-dimensional sound to the piano. Each mic lives on its own bus, so you can blend them like you're an engineer, or you can use the presets created by the Nashville session players. Let's check out each mic on its own. Let's look at the 414s first. It's beautiful. This would be my first selection if I were going to be working on something that's more modern sounding, that's kind of anything that sounds like 2015 to now. This is going to be my go-to selection for sure. Now, let's take a listen at the 47s. These are going to be very different. Check this out. They're wide, right? Super wide. If you have headphones on, you're going to hear a lot of things that you didn't hear in the 414s. You're going to hear a lot of reflections from the underside of the piano lid. You're going to hear some more mechanical noises happening in these microphones. It provides a much more intimate perspective of the piano. So I really like this if I'm doing something a little more old school sounding, and maybe some kind of singer-songwritery kind of thing where it's just piano and vocal kind of thing. Any place that the piano is going to be very featured, very up front, and needs to be detailed, this is usually going to be my go-to. Now, the MD421 is very different, and it is not usually meant to be used on its own. Now, we have made creative uses of it in the past before, but this is not normally meant to live on its own. Check this. It's so like punchy and squashed, and just it's all mid-range. It's just hammering on. It's very cool. We've used it before in creative context, but typically not the sound of the piano that you want on its own. Usually on a record, we're going to use this as a mono supplemental filler kind of mic. So let's use the 414s for starter. Let's get those up to about unison here. Now what I'll do, I'll play a chord here, and I'll blend the 421 in, and I'll pull it back out, push it in, and pull it back out. So you can kind of hear it coming and going, and you'll hear the center of the image kind of fill in and then disappear, and then fill in and then disappear. And also you may notice it feeling like it has more of a three-dimensional depth to it as I add it in. Check this out. It just comes to life when you add that 421. When you blend it in, the center of the image fills out, and it just becomes inspiring to play. I love it. It's so good. It makes me want to just sit and play and play and play and play and just never get up. And trust me, during the development of this library, I have sat here for dozens and dozens and dozens of hours and just sat and played, and just I love it. It's so inspiring, and I think you're going to really love what that microphone does to the mix. Now, let's talk the realism and the details of this instrument. We're looking at like noise floor, note resonances, and the spaces, which are going to be my favorite part, and I'm excited to get there for you to hear that. Noise floor, every microphone setup has its own like ambient footprint. The room air, the microphone, preamp self-noise, the way they pick up tiny reflections, they're all very important to making things feel like a genuine and real capture. And it's very important that we have kept all of that. That is what's going to make this sound so real and so convincing to your ears. So check this out. Every microphone has its own little thumbprint on it. So if I crank the noise floor knob, I'm just going to turn it all the way up so you can hear it. If you have headphones, you'll hear this very clearly. I'm going to turn it all the way up. Now, you don't hear anything yet. Wait until I crank up the mic fader for the 414s, and we'll listen to each one independently. Each one has its own sonic thumbprint. Check this. It's so subtle, but it's so important that an amount of that sound be added back into your sample. Now, if you want it to be really organic and really natural sounding, turn it up a little bit. Now, if you want something that's super modern and polished and scrubbed clean, turn it off or turn it down. I like to leave that knob somewhere around the noon position, around the 12 o'clock position. Seems to be kind of the sweet spot for me. I'll tweak it a little bit either way, but that's where I feel like it sets the best for me. You have to remember when you do add compression to this in the mixing stage, whenever you start really clamping down on the piano, it's going to really bring that noise floor up. So be careful with how much you add of it. Now, let's go into some of the note resonances. Now, it's a very, very subtle detail that I've added here, but it is also very important to a real piano player that these kind of details have been kept in the piano. So notes on the upper end of the piano don't have dampers on them. So when you play a note up here, you don't hear anything because there's no microphones turned up. Check this out. All right, here we go. Let's put it up to my favorite kind of mic position here. This is what I really like. So when you play a note up top, you're going to hear that note continue to ring because there's no damper. Now, if I put the sustain pedal down and I play that same note, you're going to hear that resonance bloom across the lower end of the piano. You can hear the wash across the bottom of the piano. Now, for the sake of realism, there's a very tiny detail, very complex detail to work out, but this is really important that things feel very real. When I play a note up here with the pedal down and then I release the pedal, you'll hear all of the lower resonances that are happening be removed while that top note continues to ring. Check this. That wash goes away while the note continues to ring. It's a super subtle detail, but it is so important to a real pianist. It's going to make things feel real. It's going to feel natural to you. And without it, it's one of those things you just can't put your finger on and you go, I don't know why, it just doesn't feel right. Those are the details that make things feel right to a player. Now let's talk about the reverbs, because this is without a doubt the most special part of the library to me personally. These are not stock effects. They're not generic impulse responses that are living in the background of Kontakt somewhere. These are real reverbs captured from real spaces in our studios. These are the piano booths, the ISO booths, and the larger tracking rooms that you've been hearing on records for the last 30 or 40 years. There's 15 close verbs and 15 larger verbs. The close verbs are going to put your piano inside a real Nashville piano ISO booth. They're going to be kind of tight and controlled and rather familiar sounding. The bigger verbs are made from a blend of real tracking room spaces. So the bigger rooms where you typically track the drums and stuff, and those rooms on into some of the classic hardware units that are found all over Nashville. So sampling some of the chambers, the halls, some of the special digital reverbs that have been created over the last few decades by these engineers. So here you're not picking an effect, reverb effect really. You're picking the room or the studio that you want the piano to be in. Now, because some of the studios were very cool with the idea of me coming in and doing this, some were very not okay with me coming in and capturing their sonic footprint. So I've been very careful with the name labeling of these impulse responses. So they will all be named generically like dark ISO or wooden ISO or stone ISO or lively ISO, just descriptor terms, along with a time of how long the decay is onto it. 0.2 seconds, 0.5 seconds, 0.7 seconds, 1.1 second. Okay? Let's take a look at a couple of these. So generically, when you load up Music Row piano, you're going to load it with dark ISO booth loaded. So let's turn that off for a second and let's hear it without the ISO booth. Now add the ISO booth back. It immediately puts you in that space so well. So let's find a really nice spot. Let's go minus 12 dB. Turn it off. Back to minus 12. Yeah. Yeah, that's to me, that's money. That's my favorite piano room in town, by the way. Can't tell you which one it is. I might get in trouble, but it is my favorite, and some of you piano players might recognize it. There are some other ones, like there's one here that's lively ISO booth. it's so good. I want to tell you what rooms these are. I can't do it though. I'll keep my mouth shut here. There's a lot of wonderful things to pick and play from here. Let's look at some of the bigger impulse responses. Let's touch on them really quick because I've been too long-winded as it is. Let's do slap live room. Let's just go ahead. So here's nothing. Dry. Add a little bit of this in. It's a lot of that in. Let's back it down. Yeah. These, as subtle as they are, swapping from one to the other can completely change the mood and the environment of the sound of the piano just by swapping the sound of the impulse response. It totally changes the vibe instantly. Let's check out let's do rich chamber. Closer to a 2-second decay there. Yeah. Yeah. Nice. Let's do one of the halls. Mellow hall seems to be one of the favorites amongst some of the session guys. I have to say it is really good. And let's do one more. This is one of the specialty reverbs that I know my CCM friends will really appreciate. It's so good. It just goes on forever. I love it. Anyways, we've got to move on from this because I could be here all day. Blend them, mix them together. You don't have to use the close separate from the large. Use a good chunk of the close reverb. Get a piano ISO booth in there. Blend some of that bigger stuff around it. Those are truly the sounds of the last 30, 40 years of Nashville. Check them out. Blend them. Play with them. Pick a bunch of different random ones. There's so much good stuff in there, okay? Now, before I ramble on for too long, let's check out a couple of real-world examples. Some piano ballad kind of stuff that kind of represents a few different eras of Nashville. And just let's see how well Music Row piano sits in each of those environments. Let's check this one out first. Looking at the early 2000s of Nashville, you're going to hear some of these, epic country ballad tones. They're kind of warm, a little bit on the wide side. Sounds like you might hear on a Rascal Flatts tune like this. So good. Let's do something a little more let's go rather modern here. Check this out. Gotta love a little Thomas Rhett. You get a close look at some of the more intimate sides of things with the softer velocity curve. And let's do one more that's going to really showcase the mechanical side of the piano. Check out this old Keith Urban song. You'll immediately notice there's a lot more noise in this sample or in this preset. The noise floor's been turned up a little bit. We've turned the velocity curve all the way down. We've cranked the mechanical noises. We've got the 47s cranked. We've got the impulse responses cranked. It suits the vibe of a song like this. So good. It's important to note these are not recreations. They're just quick vibe references that kind of get you in the ballpark. But the fact that Music Row Piano can drop into these sonic worlds so easily shows how closely it mirrors the way Nashville records are actually made. So one last thing I'll leave you with on this. Every preset in this library was created by a Nashville session keyboardist. These are the players that actually perform on the records. These are not theoretical patches made up by some guy that plays pop producer at home. These are the guys that are actually playing on the records. These are the real starting points that they use on ballads and pop country intros and the soft textures and bright modern tones that they use every day. And a few of the guys that are more technologically inclined and like to kind of get under the hood of things have gone deeper into Kontakt and made a set of affected snapshots, things like old radio EQs and quarter note delays and chorus and phaser type textures. Some of the little production tricks that we use all the time on modern country songs, those are going to be in there for you as well. So check out the Snapshots menu. And there's going to be so much to dive through, so many wonderful starting points for you to try. Music Row Piano was built to feel like you just walked into a Nashville studio, pulled up a bench, and just hit record. It's the instrument I wish I had years ago, and I'm incredibly proud of how it turned out. I hope you enjoy making music with it as much as we do here in Nashville. Thanks for checking out Music Row Piano.